This is a nice little wildlife corner here. The log pile we've recently reorganised, and there's a bumblebee nest at the bottom of there, which is wonderful. They can literally pop out their front door, and they've got a water trough there and more bug hotel. There's a nice Cotoneaster there that I've noticed they've been feeding on very happily over the last few weeks. Up above there, in amongst the stuff coming over the fence, there's a nice little pink jasmine, which again they've been feeding on. Quite a lot of evergreen foliage plants here for the use for my floral art displays. The alyssum there in the corner of the border, that was for the Field of the Cloth of Gold display, but we're not using that obviously at the moment. Two really nice roses here, Crown Princess Margarita, which my mum gave to Charlotte and I, so they're very special. That sundial plinth, we've moved from the middle of the garden out into that border. Planting lots of annuals this year in nice big groups to attract the butterflies and the bees into the garden. There's a blue tip nest against the fence there. Ceanosus there, which has been very nice this spring. It's a very early flowering one, it's finished now, but that was really nice. And this Viburnum opulus, one of my favourites. Got a combination of Cosmos and Ami here, which I grew last year, which I really enjoyed, so I've done that again this year. Made these bamboo wigwams from bamboo that we got from Christine's neighbour, which was very kind. Got some sweet peas there, putting some tomatoes out here as well, trying to grow those outdoors this year. Never really done very much with fruit and veg in this garden, so that's going to be a new step for me this year. Another wigwam here, combination of runner beans and sweet peas here, so I'm not quite sure how that's actually going to work, but we're going to give it a go. A couple of courgettes there, which a friend of mine gave me. Another wigwam there of sweet peas, which I'm going to put somewhere else in the garden when I find a space for that. There's my little statue. He's called William, belonged to my grandmother, so he's had lost his basket, but he looks very happy there. Butterflies and bees enjoy this corner. There's a hebe here. It's a late flowering one. Lovely bright pink flowers in the autumn. There's a honeysuckle here which has done very well. It's going a bit over now. Wonderful fragrance from that over the past few weeks. A couple of buddleias at the back there. Nothing spectacular, but they do give a nice bit of height in this area of the garden later in the year. And wonderful for the butterflies, of course. I put my alliums in pots so that I can put them into gaps should they appear in the borders in the spring. They don't seem to have lasted very long this year. I think this dry weather hasn't really done them any favours. This Cerinthe has done absolutely amazingly well this spring. It's been out since very, very early on, and it's been covered in bees literally the whole time. There's some Nepeta in here as well. This Clematis is quite nice, just poking out the top of there. I'm hoping it'll get a bit more height on that as the summer goes on. This calendula here has been wonderful. I planted those very late last summer, and they've overwintered and come up nice and early in the spring and have been out for a long, long time. So I'm loving that purple and orangey yellow combination of colours there, and that's repeated just there with the Nepeta as well. Love that shell. That was my mum's. Nice reminder of her. We've put quite a few annuals in here this spring, summer, using up various packets of seeds that are hanging around the place rather than going and buying things. So we're looking forward to those. Planted them in nice big groups as well to give a nice area of colour for the bees and the butterflies to hone in on. A few other bits here to plant out and put tomatoes and things out. They're coming out of the greenhouse. Here is my greenhouse, which Pete, Charlotte and I put up last spring, which we're very proud of. Between the lot of us, didn't manage to murder each other. We've repurposed the black bins there from our old house to collect the rainwater. Got quite a few tomatoes in here, probably too many actually this year, from members, friends and family. A pepper and a cucumber as well, and some salad leaves there. So looking forward to seeing how that all works out throughout the summer. Plenty of tomatoes by the look of it. This is a nice little plant combination here. Those wonderful little white daisies seem to pop up all over the place. And that pelargonium is the plug plant that we gave out to members last year. And there's a blue agapanthus there, so a nice patriotic red, white and blue display just there. Coming round here into the back garden, there's the beehive. I had to move that from where those runner beans are. Make room for that. It's quite shady round here. But it's a nice area, nice combination of plants. Here I've got planted one of those Deltacera fuchsias, and with some purple Tradescantia. I'm hoping that's going to make a nice colour combination later in the summer. A few herbs there. This Ami, self-seeded from last year, and he's very tall. I put some sweet peas in the bottom of there to give that a bit of colour for the summer. These iris here have been wonderful this spring. Not a particularly dynamic colour, quite subtle really, pale yellow, but nice against that purple clematis on the fence. This honeysuckle's a nice one. It's called Limelight, semi-evergreen. Robin's nest in there, we've seen them fledge several times. There's a sedum there, that could do with a Chelsea chop, I need to get onto that. This Ceanothus has been beautiful in the early part of the spring. Lots of lovely blue flowers on there, bees enjoying that very much. Trying to get some geums to grow under there, it's quite dry. Need to spend a bit more time on this part of the garden. A couple of honeysuckles up in this area, along with some other really nice bright green spring foliage. There's a peony coming out there. I'm liking this combination here of the foxgloves and the salvia. This has been a bit of a tricky corner here. I don't know if I've ever quite got this one right. It's shady here most of the time. This is in the morning when it's catching the morning sun. There's some dahlias in here, hostas, ferns. There's a honeysuckle in the corner and a jasmine, some stinging nettles for the butterflies. At the front here, there's some heuchera, some pulmonaria. I think there's some astrantia in there, saccharoliges. So it's a right mixture in here. And the hostas here, they like it against this fence. They get the morning sun, but shaded in the afternoon. You can see how the shade comes into this part of the garden. As we move round here to where the hostas are, there's the bird feeder. That's given us endless pleasure throughout the winter and the spring, watching the birds come and go there. This is a lovely combination here, this border. It's very, very shady in this corner, but it also gets a lot of wind between our house and our neighbour's house, so these plants here have to tough it out quite often here. But I'm liking the combination of the hostas and the fern, grasses, the heuchera. This clematis here is Dr. Ruppel. A bit blousy, but it's actually really nice in this corner, really brightens things up. This is one of my favourite combinations, this fern here with the wonderful dark stems against that quite glaucous sort of hosta there. I planted a few sweet peas down in there against that dreadful stake. That's holding the fence up, or that would have fallen down by now. Need to get that fixed properly. More water there for the wildlife. I think the hedgehogs are here quite often. Seen a bit of hedgehog poo around the place, so that's very nice at the night time, because I think that's why the hostas do quite well here, because we don't seem to get much of a slug problem here. Moving around here by the patio door, we've got some more hostas here. They love it in the shade here and do very, very well, as you can see. I really like this colour combination, this lovely bright green against that plain darker green, the variegated one, and this tiny little one at the front here, that's called Mouse's Ears, which I'm very fond of. There's a winter flowering jasmine there. That's always nice to see in the winter when we're sitting here looking out the patio window. Lots of spring bulbs in this area as well, so brightens up this corner in the early months of the year. I just wanted to come back to this part of the garden because these beautiful pink peonies have come out. in the last couple of days. They've done very well this year. These bright red poppies in this border are an absolute delight. There's a mass of fresh faces every morning. Sadly, by late afternoon, they're all gone. But they're back again the next morning. This seems quite a nice way to finish my little film with these wonderful bright colours.